Yo, what is good, people? Welcome back to another episode of the F1's 2022 My Team series here on the channel. It is round 4 of season 2. We're in the Monaco Grand Prix, and obviously last season we did struggle a lot around here, but our car is much better than last season, so hopefully we can have a good race today in Monaco on a wheel and pedal setup. Of course, we don't use controller anymore. We've currently got the fourth or fifth best car on the grid. I do think we'll have a look at that again later. If you missed the last episode, you can see spoilers on the screen right now. Our ICE exploded in Imola, so we're going to have to take a new one today. No grid penalty for that, but yeah, here we go. We are 5th on the vehicle comparison chart behind McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, and of course Ferrari. We do have the best aero package on the grid in terms of upgrades. We're obviously the 5th best overall car, but our aerodynamic section is the best on the grid. And with Monaco being a very heavy aero track, it's maybe looking good for us. Let's find out as we can jump into qualifying. Let's see if we've got any pace around this Monaco circuit. I'm losing, like I said last episode, if you haven't seen it, I'm losing a bit of motivation to keep making this series, boys. So if you do want me to stick with it and keep going, make sure you hit that like button and just show support on the videos, and that's what motivates me to keep going with it. We have to take a new turbocharger because it was getting worn. Could do with a new gearbox as well. Should have changed it before the session, but I just completely forgot to, I can't lie. But of course, this is going to take up a lot of time in the session. But we do manage to get that new turbo fitted and the new gearbox fitted, and we can now go out and set a lap. And I think this is a push lap currently. It's only good enough for P19. That's not good enough to get through to Q2. 40 seconds left in the session here. This is going to be our final lap of the qualifying session. Can we set a good enough lap to get through to Q2? We of course got through to Q2 last race in Imola. Is it going to be good enough here? Slow. We're already 1.5 tenths down on our lap. So can we try and improve somewhere? Find some time as we get down into the hairpin, getting that rotation of the wheel. Looks like we've under rotated there, but still massively gained on the delta compared to the last lap. We must have completely bottled the hairpin on the last lap. And we're nearly 5 tenths up coming through the tunnel section now. So as we fly through the tunnel, head towards the downhill braking zone for this tricky chicane here, taking just very close to the wall. It's so fun driving this track. I'm going to say it the whole video, but it's so fun driving this track on a wheel and pedal setup. Pushing wide on exit there up to the railing. We could have took more speed through there as well, but we were taking it quite calm. We weren't really pushing too hard. We weren't right on the edge of the car's limit, I wouldn't say, although right there we almost go into the wall. But we set a purple sector 2, which means the fastest, obviously, sector 2 of the whole session. Fastest man through there of the session. We crossed the line. Is that going to be good enough to get us through to Q2? It is. It's going to be P10. That's exactly where we qualified in Imola in Q1. So we qualify in P10. Jenson Button, of course, we got a pace upgrade for him last episode. He manages to get through to Q2 in P8. So looking decent enough. We've got a decent amount of pace here. Now getting into Q2, this is where we can start pushing it even harder. 4th gear coming through turn 1, taking a lot of curb on the way through there. Easy to unsettle the car by taking the curbs in Monaco, but managing to keep it together. Easy to lose the back end through here as well by getting on the throttle too early, so be careful coming through that corner there. But as we head downhill, avoiding the bump in the road, we've set a purple sector 1, which is crazy because we really struggled through sector 1 for the whole weekend. Using a bit of curb on the hairpin for rotation there, and then taking a lot of curb on the right to get rotation. And yeah, through this section here, the car just felt great. It just really felt great compared to last season. It just felt really good. We're running max downforce on the setup as well, so 50 front wing, 50 rear wing, and we've got the best aero package on the grid already as it is. As we come through that chicane now, just pushing it right up to against the walls. A great sector 2 again. Here again, we could take more liberty on the exit there, pushing wider, but we don't. It's a purple sector 2. We've set 2 purple sectors here, coming through this chicane, taking a lot of curb. Managing to catch the car before we do unsettle it. Ask Charles Leclerc about that corner there. It's very easy to lose your car, but coming from the final corner now, hitting the DRS zone and then crossing the line. What is that going to be good enough for? It's going to be the fastest lap of the session. 2 purple sectors and a green. Fastest lap of the session. That puts us P1 in Q2. Lewis Hamilton in P2, and Esteban Ocon currently sat in P3, 3rd fastest in the session, and we put ourselves in the wall there, turning too early, and that knocks us into the far wall. That's only good enough for P7 at the end of the session. Jenson Button just misses out on Q3, qualifies in P12 there, a bit slower than his last 2 sessions, so I don't know what happened to Jenson, but we get through to Q3 for the first time in our career, and it's in Monaco, so it's great to see because of course grid position is key in Monaco. It's very hard to overtake, so wherever you qualify basically is where you're gonna, you know, start the race and finish the race mainly, unless anything happens safety car or strategy wise. But the usual climbing the hill after turn 1 down to 5th gear. Could have went to 4th for more rotation. Now we drop it to 4th for the right hand. They're pushing to the wall, avoiding the bump in the road, braking. First downhill braking zone. First gear for the right. Missed the apex a little bit. Down again to first gear for the hairpin. Tiny bit of curve for rotation there. Get it round nicely. Swing it right. And then swing it right again. You don't even have time to get on the throttle really before you've got to let go again and push again. It's only green sector 1. It's not a purple like we did set in Q2. But like I said, I've struggled through sector 1 all weekend, and sector 2 is really where we made up the time as we jumped the curb there, pushing wide to that exit barrier there on the left. And again, here we go, we carry more speed through this corner for the first time. We actually carry speed through that corner. It's going to be a purple sector 2, but then it's dropped to green already. We put it in the wall there. And we actually take damage to the front wing, and you can see that understeer on the final or the second to last corner. And again, you can see the understeer because we did put it in the wall. 2 green sectors though. It doesn't feel like the best lap we've done so far. Opening at the RS wing, we're going to cross the line with provisional pole, and we're going to take it back to the garage to get that front wing repaired as soon as possible, to try and go again here to set another lap in qualifying, because of course it seems to be everyone improves towards the end of the session. But as we come through turn 1 and climb the hill, we're already 2/10 down somehow. I don't know if this is like track temperature changed or something, but we got a new front wing on, brand new tyres, and it's not good enough. But we are going to be on pole position here in Monaco. That rough lap that we set that felt terrible was good enough for pole position by nearly 3/10 nearly. Wow, I genuinely could not believe that when I seen it. Lando Norris has a 5-place grid penalty. Fernando Alonso is going to join us on the front row in his Alpine, and Esteban Ocon starting P3 in a McLaren. This is a crazy grid. Let's get to the race.
And in the true meaning of the word, that's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. It's the owner-driver then in pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Ocon, Hamilton, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell and Yuki Tsunoda, Norris, they've taken a grid penalty, Button, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll, Albon, Joe, Pierre Gasly and Mick Schumacher, Ticktum, Magnussen, Schwartzman and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
I mentioned before, track position means everything in Monaco. We're going with a one-stop strategy, of course. Can't risk a two-stop. We're on pole position to start this race, and we've got the formation lap. It feels weird to be at the front for the formation lap. The lights go green, we take off, try and get some heat into these tyres. And one thing I didn't consider is that with us being first on the grid, doing this formation lap, we're going to have to sit on the grid for a very long time while we wait for everyone else behind us to catch up and just lose all of that heat that we did put into those tyres. Maybe we should have took it slower I mean, even compared to Alonso, we are flying ahead here. We only get a green parking on the grid instead of a purple, which would have been ideal. And look at the grid there. You can see some people still coming around the swimming pool chicane, never mind the final corners. So we're just going to sit here, actually leave it in, so you can see how long we were sat on the grid for and how long all that heat we've just put into the tyres is just leaving the tyres. You can see we are just sat here. We've already got an orange engine warning in the bottom right. We've picked up some wear on engine components, which I didn't change before the session, but we don't have time now, and we would have took a penalty. So hopefully, you know, it'll be all right. But there we go. Finally, the grid is reformed, and we wait for the lights to count down. On pole position here in Monaco. 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. We get off to an okay start. Fernando Alonso quick off the line. He tucks in behind us, tries to cut off Esteban Ocon down into turn 1, and we do lead through turn 1. That was crucial for us to lead coming through turn 1. There's Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, sorry, and Esteban Ocon behind. Hamilton has beat Ocon to P3 coming through turn 1. We managed to stay ahead, and as long as we can stay ahead of Alonso for lap 1, then I think we might be in good stead for the rest of the race. Now we've got all of this fuel on board though. The car feels so much different compared to qualifying, and coming through this section it just feels completely different. The balance is completely off. It just felt like a completely different car, and we're struggling understeering already. The tyres probably don't have any heat into them because of how long we have to wait on the grid and just sit there while we waited for the back markers to join us. But can we stay ahead? This is another overtaking opportunity coming out of the tunnel. People like to send it up the inside, but Alonso too far back to make a move like that. And yeah, I can't believe Alonso is in P2 and Ocon is up here as well. Obviously, Ocon won the last race in Imola somehow as well. So Ocon's on a run of form here, but Alonso right on our gearbox as we head towards the final turns of lap 1. Down the main straight, no DRS for 2 laps. This is the only DRS zone in Monaco down this straight here, but we're going to use our battery charge to try and put in a bit of a gap down this main straight. It's not even long enough to get us up into 8th gear before we're into the braking zone again. Of course, we set the fastest lap because we were pole position, but yeah, it's not even fast. It's not even a long enough straight to get into to 8th gear. Never mind to make an overtake with DRS or something like that. But you can see that Alonso right on our gearbox, and Hamilton churning in the laps as well to try and catch up to Alonso. Those two, a bit of bad blood between those two, their whole careers, and especially after this current real life shenanigans in Belgium, when obviously Hamilton completely closed the door on Alonso and took himself out of the race. Any Team Lewis Hamilton fans, if you don't think Hamilton was at fault for that, you don't know wheel. I'm sorry, Lewis is the GOAT, but if you blame Alonso for that collision, you do not know wheel. Anyway, coming out of the tunnel, Alonso still not close enough to make that move. Lap 6. I'll be honest with you, it's hard to make a video in Monaco, especially because it is hard to overtake, and the lack of action really coming through these laps. You know, we've skipped already to lap 6. We've put in time to Alonso. Lap 9 now we're coming towards the end of. We're just putting in those laps, using that battery down the main straight. So even though Alonso does have DRS, we're just putting in that the time still and putting in that gap by using that battery charge, which obviously there's not many places to even expend the battery around Monaco, so we're just harvesting it in the braking zones and then using it down the main straight, and that's how we're keeping ahead of Alonso. What this really comes down to now, I'd say, in this race, already lap 10, I'm thinking about strategy. I'm thinking undercut, overcut, who's going to come out ahead in the pits. We realistically need to pit at the same time as Alonso, but we can't do that because if we stay out and he comes in, like, we can't go back in time and reverse into the pit lane, you know. So that is the tricky point that we're looking for. Lap 14 was still ahead, and even Hamilton and Ocon are still in the picture. Carlos Sainz nowhere to be seen, and the actual Monegasque driver, Charles Leclerc, don't know what he's up to. He's normally quick around here, but Leclerc completely missing. Lap 17 though, I believe this might be our in lap. Yes it is. We're going to come into the pits on lap 17. And luckily we put in a 2-second gap to Alonso just to try and give ourselves a bit of leeway, but Alonso and Hamilton come into the pits at the same time as us. The top 3 runners in this race here coming into the pits at the same time on the same lap, so that is really nice to see. I'll be real, because it means we don't have to worry about an undercut or an overcut. We get a perfect pit stop there, 2.3 seconds. We actually set a purple sector 2 as well on our in lap there, because I knew we just had to push as hard as we could to try and put in that gap. That's really where we made up a bit of more time to Alonso. We come out to the pit in P6 behind our teammate. Of course, the top 5 are yet to pit. And look at the understeer on these cold, hard tyres. The gap to Alonso was 1.9 before we came into the pits. It's now even higher than that, so he must have lost some time in the pit lane. Stroll, the car behind Alonso, so I don't know what happened to Hamilton, if he got held in the pits as well. But again, using the curb for rotation through the hairpin, just very difficult to try and warm up these hard tyres. Everyone else who hadn't pit the top 5, they come into the pits now. Esteban Ocon, I believe, leading this group of the overcutters. He sure is. So we're going to come back into first place and lead the race yet again with 20 laps to go in this race. Esteban Ocon on his way out the pits. Hamilton finally joins us there in the top left. He's in P5. He comes out behind Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. So I don't know what happened to Hamilton, if he took a new front wing in the pit lane or if he just got released into traffic, had a slow stop and got released into traffic. But Hamilton has lost 2 places. He was comfortably in P3. Now he's behind Perez and Ocon.
We're accumulating somewhere on the MG UK. To manage this, we're going to need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
Ocon there up into the podium spot. We get a warning from our engineer about picking up wear on an engine component. That is a different message to the normal mechanical failure message, so I wasn't too concerned when he said that. But when I did check the engine, there was a part that was wearing, but it was a different part that he warned me about, so I was a little bit concerned. But with just 8 laps to go here in this race, you can see the top 3 still right on our tail. We are about to start our final lap here in Monaco. Lap 39 up to 39. We've led every single lap of this race. The only thing we don't have is the fastest lap. So can we get our head down one last time, try and push for that fastest lap and get that extra point? It would be a nice point haul. 26 points in Monaco, that would be perfect. Coming through, we've set a purple sector 1. Like I said, we struggled in sector 1 all weekend, but we managed to set a purple sector 1 there. And I know that we've got pace through sector 2, so I'm already thinking this could be on one old hard tyres, we could be setting the fastest lap of the race here on the final lap of the race. That's some Max Verstappen type stuff. Let's find out. We've got a 1 second gap to Alonso, just completely in a league of our own this weekend, down into the braking zone. Like I say, we have the best aero package on the grid, and it really just showed coming through this whole race weekend, to be honest. Sector 2 has been our favourite sector so far this weekend, but we set a red sector 2, and that is not a good sign looking for that fastest lap point. We take the swimming pool chicane so nicely there as well. That was probably the nicest we took it all weekend. I'll break ourselves a little bit maybe there, but who cares? We're going to come around the final corner now. No DRS. We're using all of that battery charge. The checkered flag falls, and we are going to cross the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Something I never thought I would say. We spent 3 or 4 seasons last game and we never won the Monaco Grand Prix. But today we set pole position, lead every lap of the race, and we win the Monaco Grand Prix, and I can't believe it. That is one of our checklist retirement items checked off the list. Before we retire, I wanted to win the Drivers' Championship, the Constructors' Championship, and win a race in Monaco. And we've already checked one off the list. It's going to be... someone just crashed into the back of us while we're on the grid. So I don't know who that was. But, yeah, P1, we're going to watch all the celebrations. We're going to watch all the celebrations. Fernando Alonso in an Alpine in P2. Esteban Ocon in a McLaren in P3. That is such a weird podium to see. No Mercedes, no Red Bull, no Ferrari. Especially when they're the 3 fastest cars in the vehicle comparison chart. But it just shows you that it's not about the plane, it's about the pilot, as they would say in Top Gun Maverick. But yeah, so it's not about the car, it's about the driver in Monaco. And we've got 2 good drivers on the podium, plus Esteban Ocon, just there for moral support, I guess, you know. It's like... no, I won't even say that. It's like a Make-A-Wish kid. He's just wanted to be up there. There's me and Fernando celebrating together. Big Fernando. Yeah, big Nando. We don't even celebrate with Ocon. Don't even shake his hand or spray some fucking champagne on him because I hate Esteban Ocon. But yeah, so... normally skip all them celebrations, but we had to watch it because it was us. You know what I mean? We had to. We win the Grand Prix, start in pole, win from pole, lead every lap. Our teammate Jenson Button up from P12 to P11. At least he made up 1 place. Didn't manage to get into the points though, which is unfortunate. I don't think we've had double points yet as a team. Yeah, I don't know why Jenson is struggling so much. I thought he would have been a great addition to the team. Guess it wasn't meant to be. But 25 points, that is huge. That is, in one race, more points than we made in the whole of last season. Charles Leclerc, I mentioned the Monegasque driver. He finished in P9, I think it said there. We take Lando Norris as our rival. They keep giving me stupid people to rival us. But I'm like, you know what? We're just behind McLaren. We're just behind McLaren in the vehicle comparison chart. So Let's go with Lando. But yeah, so we pick up an engine power upgrade and an ERS upgrade there. They will come in before the Silverstone Grand Prix. It'll be nice to get some more engine power before Silverstone. 2 long straights back in Silverstone in our home Grand Prix. We're also going to pick up this plank upgrade, which we will get before Silverstone. So 3 upgrades to come through before Silverstone. By the end of this season, like I mentioned at the start, I wanted to use Season 2 as a development season. And by the end of this season, we might nearly be fully upgraded. But Baku next up, another street circuit. Can we have the same success we had in Monaco? Let's find out in the next race. I'm not sure when it'll be, people, because I'm going away, so I don't know when it'll be. But you'll see it when you see it. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know the vibes. I'll catch us next time. Take it easy.